Hi everyone, this is Restorative Yoga with Mel. I'm Mel, and today's sequence is going to share with you two postures which are a really wonderful way just to calm yourself down before going to bed. So you can put on your PJs if you like and get ready. So I'm placing my mat here against the wall, so if you've got somewhere in your home where you've got some wall space, then you'll need to take your mat to that place. If your bed is up against the wall and there's nothing hanging above the bed, then you can also do this in bed, so it's a perfect way to really relax yourself before you go to sleep. If you're practicing on the floor like I am, pop a blanket over the mat so that you've got a bit of extra softness and padding beneath you. So we're going to take a bolster or a firm cushion or pillow, whatever you're using, and place that a generous hand's width away from the wall. So give yourself some space. If you know the hamstrings are a little bit tight, you can take the bolster even further away from the wall. Equally, you can do this position without using the bolster. So if you're new to yoga, or if in a moment once I've demonstrated it you're not so sure, confident about doing it, then just practice it without the bolster to begin with. So before you come into the position, it's always useful to know where your eye pillow is. So if you're using one of these, we just place it over the eyes to bring a little bit of weight and shade, help the mind to switch off a little bit. If you don't have an eye pillow, you can use a clean sock or a scarf, whatever you've got nearby, but make sure it is nearby because it's quite hard to find this stuff once you're lying down. You might also like something to use as a pillow for your head. Again, just nearby so that you can find it easily. So to come into the posture, you sit on the edge of the bolster. If you're not using a bolster, you just sit on the floor. And then use your arms to support yourself. So this is the tricky bit, because if your hamstrings are a bit tight, it's hard to straighten the legs. So you roll yourself down onto your back. And then if you need to adjust the position of the bolster, you can bend your knees, press your feet into the wall, and then roll the bolster up and down as needed. If your legs are more comfortable slightly bent, keep them slightly bent. Otherwise, you can have them straight. And if you want the blanket under your head as your pillow, then you can get that into position. Finding your eye pillow, popping that over the eyes, and then letting your hands rest down by the side. You can also rest your hands on your tummy or on the bolster, wherever's most comfortable. So this is a very calming posture to take. And you might just start to notice your breath. And perhaps, if it's helpful, just imagine the breath flowing around the whole of your body. So you might imagine that on your inhale, you're breathing up the spine and up the back of the legs. And as you exhale, the breath travels over the front of the legs, over your belly and your chest. So it's as though you're bathing yourself in the breath. Using your inhale to breathe up the spine and up the back of the legs. And exhaling from the soles of the feet down to the pelvis and down to the throat. And if you're not enjoying the breathing practice, then just don't do it. And just enjoy letting the body do the work. as you begin to just prepare yourself for coming towards sleeping, calming down the nervous system, returning the blood more easily to the heart, feeling the eyes just sinking towards the back of the head. Imagine the tongue is shrinking inside of the mouth. If you find that your feet go a little bit to sleep, then you can either come out of the posture, or you can just bend your knees and let your feet hang a bit lower than your knees. So that might be with them crossed at the ankles, or just with your feet dropping towards your buttocks, and that will just allow the blood to go back down to them. So you can do that at any time. And then if you want to return to the posture for longer, you can. So bringing your legs back up to the wall one at a time. And you can stay in this posture for as long as you're comfortable, say 20 minutes or so if you wish. But we'll start to move out of it now. And so the way that you come out is to bend the knees first of all, wake the feet up, and then if you do have the bolster underneath you, nice and carefully you're going to roll all the way onto your side and come completely off the bolster. And if the eye pillow drops off here, that's fine, just keep your eyes closed and rest on your side just a little bit. And then use your arms, come all the way up, nice and slowly, there's no rush. And then we're going to come into child's pose. So I'm going to face this way on just so that you can see what I'm doing, but you can just face straight onto your mat if you like. So for child's pose, we'll have the bolster out in front of us, and the simplest way is just to fold yourself forward and rest your head down. And you might like your pillow there to support your head. So if this is comfortable for you, you can stay here. If you need a little bit more support, then a couple of things you can do is, if it's the top of your ankles that are a bit stiff, then you would take a blanket and just fold that, place it more or less where your feet go, and then in fact I think I would fold that over once again so it's more narrow, so that will work better. And then we put the tops of the feet there onto the folded blanket so that the ankles have some support. So this is a good option if you've got any problems with your ankles. If your bottom doesn't sink down towards your knees, and that's very common, then you can take again another blanket And you put that blanket onto your calf muscles, but you pull it all the way up to the backs of the knees, so you get that in nice and tight. And then as you sink down, you might find your bottom is still a bit up in the air, but you've got some support there for under the thigh, so that gradually, with time and practice, you might find the hips start to soften a little bit. If you feel when you do this posture that your hips are really, say something like this, and it's not that comfortable for you, then you can take another bolster or cushion and you make this T-shaped position, and then from here you come forward and down, and you can rest your elbows on the bolster or on the floor. So this way you're not having to fold so much from your hips and your lower back. So this is another option. So it usually takes a little bit of time and practice to find the method that works for you. Practicing it on your bed will really help because it's softer than the floor, so there's a bit of give. And if you don't find child's pose relaxing, just don't do it. Just stay with the legs up against the wall and maybe stay there for longer. Or you can check out any of my other videos. All of them are good for calming us down. So coming forward, you might take a blanket over the back of the body and just rest your torso down. It's good to close the eyes here. Child's pose is very soothing. We're protecting all of our inner organs here. We curl forward. It's a good one to help us feel safe. And so we have the head turned to one side. And then there comes a point when we turn it to the other side, so that we can stretch both sides of the neck. And what you may find is that one side of your neck is tighter than the other. So if at any point you need to turn your head back, then you are free to do so. So if you haven't done so already, we'll turn the head now so that we're facing the other direction. Remember, you can turn it back at any stage. And if you enjoy this posture and you want to stay in it for longer on each side, then just pause the video and use a timer so that you know roughly how long you've been in on each side. So you might be feeling a gentle stretch for your spine and for your lower back. Perhaps you're also noticing the breath moving into the back of your body. feel ready to come out. Just turning your gaze towards the bolster, so the back of the neck is long. Using your arms and pushing yourself up. And then if you are heading straight to bed, you can come into bed and just lie really comfortable. Maybe take your eye pillow into the bed with you and start with the eye pillow over the eyes, just to relax the mind a little bit more. I wish you a good night's sleep. Namaste.